Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Louise Minchin and Dan Walker.
Our headlines for you today. The row over football's breakaway European Super League continues. Boris Johnson says he'll show the plans a straight red.
Chairman of the new league speaks for the very first time at Real Madrid. Florentino Perez says it could save football. But there is so much anger amongst fans, pundits and now players are speaking out too.
I can only give my personal opinion and I don't like it one bit and hopefully it doesn't happen.
The jury goes out to consider its verdict in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former police officer accused of murdering George Floyd in the American city of Minneapolis.
India is added to the UK's red list. Most travel from the country will be banned from Friday because of fears over a new variant of coronavirus.
Good morning. The biggest drop in car insurance costs in half a decade. Motorists are paying £87 less a year. I'll find out how long the savings might last.
Good morning from Odds Farm Park, which is in Buckinghamshire. We're going to meet some lambs and chat to the kids later on, but it is a chilly start wherever you are this morning. Many of us having a dry day with some sunshine, but there is some rain in Northern Ireland and Scotland. I'll have all the details in about 10 minutes.
Good morning to you. Tuesday the 20th of April, our main story. Boris Johnson will meet football fans and officials today as the backlash over plans for a new Super League intensifies.
The Prime Minister stepped in after supporters, pundits and players joined growing calls to stop this breakaway competition. The Premier League's so-called Big Six have signed up to the league and 14 more clubs will meet today to consider their response. Joe Linsky has more.
If the European Super League is an attack on the game, then football and society have gone on the counter. This was Elland Road last night, where Leeds United supporters showed what they thought. They joined the voices round the country who've condemned the plans. The Prime Minister, the opposition leader and European politicians all say it would damage the sport. And the president of UEFA, who govern football in Europe, said this.
This idea is a spit in the face of all football lovers and our society as well. So we will not allow them to take it away from us.
On Twitter, the Duke of Cambridge, writing in his role as FA president, said we must protect the entire football community and that he shares the fans' concerns. The words now are on the pitch too. This was Leeds goalkeeper last night, wearing a T-shirt with a Champions League logo and Earn It. The 12 Super League clubs want a midweek competition that's a closed shop. No one would be relegated, but even those who represent them don't support it.
I can only give my personal opinion and I don't like it one bit and hopefully it doesn't happen.
We are here, we are the faces of the club and we arrived here today and the Leeds supporters were shouting at us. We had a walk in the city and the people were shouting at us as if we would have made a decision and we didn't.
It's the Premier League's Big Six clubs looking to break away. Today the other 14 will meet to go through the plans. And the government's launching a fan-led review into football itself.
These 6 clubs announced this decision without any consultation with football authorities or with government. Worst of all, they did it without any dialogue whatsoever with their own fans. We will do whatever it takes to protect our national game.
So I'm absolutely appalled at the fact that football has come this far into the hands of greedy owners. I am obviously a Burnley fan. We are so small, our budgets depend on people like the top 6 staying in the Premier League, and for them to just treat it like their own personal company is absolutely disgusting.
It's just going to ruin everyone's dream, everyone's game, and it's just ridiculous.
When the stock exchange opened yesterday, Man United's share price grew by nearly 10%. But now the anger from supporters is rising too. Some say this is a plan to break up football, but the people in the game are standing firm. Joe Linsky, BBC News.
It was really interesting watching yesterday, wasn't it? Because the criticism just keeps coming.
Yeah.
And Sally, there's been sort of developments overnight as well.
And the other thing that I think has been missing is perhaps owners, chairmen of football clubs in this country who are involved in it coming out to talk about it. Silence. Just no one wants to speak about it. Well, apart from one person, there's been a huge backlash. And there are obviously powerful figures in the game, though, who are convinced this is the right way to go, none more so than Real Madrid's president and the chairman of the newly formed European Super League, Florentino Perez. He has been talking about the motivations behind the breakaway competition and insists that rather than destroying the game, as many critics fear, he says it's going to save it. Well, here's what he had to say.
No tienes ingresos más que los de la televisión, pues entiendes que...
We don't have the money apart from TV rights, so the only way to make football profitable is to make more competitive teams that are more attractive to fans of the biggest clubs from all over the world.
Todos los grandes clubes, y así empezamos a trabajar.
So we came to the conclusion that if instead of doing the Champions League between seasons, we do a Super League of the biggest clubs, we'll be able to recover some of the income we've lost.
Una Superliga entre los grandes clubes, pues seríamos capaces de paliar digamos, los ingresos que hemos perdido.
That was a really interesting interview. He went on to say, of course, we've heard from UEFA there's a possibility that English clubs in the Champions League, Europa League could be banned from playing. He said that simply will not happen. Do not worry, this is not true. Players will not be banned from international matches. That, of course, is just his opinion. One of the things that came out from that interview is, of course, I think what they're trying to do is encourage, he says, younger football fans. So younger football fans want a different tournament. They want to see the biggest teams playing on the biggest stage more regularly. And that is something that is really up for debate, isn't it? Because I'm not entirely sure that's true.
Another thing they said that really annoyed, I think, quite a few football fans yesterday is they referred to sort of two types of fans, didn't they? They said the legacy fans, sort of the traditional fans that they've had before, and those they're trying to catch in the future. I just think that it's not like, Sal, that football has always... fans have felt disenfranchised for a long time and felt distanced from their club for a long time, but this did feel like a different step, didn't it?
It's even worse, isn't it? It's even worse than paying a really high price for the kit, not being able to afford a season ticket, not being able to afford simply or even get a ticket for a game that you want to go to, which I think is so difficult for fans. This is another step on, isn't it? Well, we will be speaking to former England captain Alan Shearer about this a little bit later in the programme. That's around 7:30, so it will be interesting to see what he thinks about all of this. I think I already know. I can guess.
I think he'd probably be quite strong and in terms of sanctions. I think he'd probably go quite far. It's just basically sport, isn't it? You know, whatever sport you compete in, if you can't lose, it's not sport.
It's not sport, it's not a competition. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Right. See you a little bit later. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. In other news, India has been added to the government's red list for travel, meaning that from 4 a.m. on Friday, British and Irish citizens arriving into the UK will have to quarantine in a designated hotel.
Yeah, non-residents will be banned from entering the country entirely. It comes after more than 100 cases of the Indian variant were identified here in the UK. Our transport correspondent Caroline Davis has more.
Delhi is going into lockdown. Cases are rising across India, and there's a growing concern about the so-called Indian variant of the coronavirus. While it's under investigation, the UK government has taken a new step.
We've made the difficult but vital decision to add India to the red list. This means anyone who is not a UK or Irish resident or a British citizen cannot enter the UK if they've been in India in the previous 10 days. UK and Irish residents and British citizens who've been in India in the past 10 days before their arrival will need to complete hotel quarantine for 10 days from the time of arrival.
The rules will come in from 4 a.m. on Friday morning. It's less than 4 months since India banned flights from the UK, trying to contain the UK variant. With this virus, dynamics between countries can change quickly. When flights restarted, India's government restricted them to 30 a week between the two countries, and seats back to the UK before Friday are already in short supply. Vic and his family are currently in Ghaziabad on the outskirts of Delhi.
I immediately look into the flights. So A, I couldn't get any flights back home. B, I have to quarantine with a small child now. That is my another worry. C, it is ridiculously expensive to be in a hotel quarantine for 10 days. But the variant here in India is worrying. People have started panicking about it. There is a sense of panic around.
International travel from England could still restart to some countries from the 17th of May. But this announcement shows it will be a while until the world is open. as the list of countries designated red gets longer, not shorter. Caroline Davis, BBC News.
A travel bubble launched yesterday between Australia and New Zealand could be in jeopardy already. A border worker at New Zealand's Auckland airport is said to have tested positive for coronavirus. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said the country's health authorities were liaising with their Australian counterparts.
A jury in Minneapolis has adjourned after spending 4 hours considering its verdict in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former US police officer who's charged with murdering George Floyd.
The defence says Mr Chauvin correctly followed police training, but the prosecution say his actions were disproportionate and deliberate. Our correspondent Lebu Diseko joins us now from Minneapolis. Thank you very much for being with us on the programme. So I know we don't know exactly when we're going to hear the verdict, but there's so much attention on this case.
Absolutely. I mean, I heard one local journalist here on local TV saying that anyone who claims to know or have any idea how long this might take is really just making things up at this stage, because it could take anywhere between, a few hours tomorrow or several days. The jury has already deliberated for a few hours today between 4 and 8 p.m. They deliberated, didn't return a verdict. But yes, this is a city very much on edge, people saying that they are anxious about what might happen next. And that's really something I'm hearing from people that I speak to around the country, saying that they are fearful of what might happen if there's not a guilty result, but also fearful that justice may not be served.
Lebu, thank you very much. Good to speak to you. We'll catch up with you a bit later in the programme.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.